Hello there and a very good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us on SuperScreen News at 10, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to invest in human capital as well as promote Nigeria's unity. The president disclosed this at the 10th Tinubu colloquium to mark the national leader of the All Progressives Congress APC birthday. The report. It was a roll call of politicians, lawmakers, captain of industries in Nigeria at the 10th Tinubu colloquium organized to celebrate the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With the theme, Investing in People, President Muhammadu Buhari expressed commitment to investing in human capital in Nigeria's unity. For the Vice President, Nigeria must end corruption now.
We must invest in people. Here I can say that the expenditures made by this government constitute investment in and for the people. We depend on the people to govern. This government recognizes this. Hence our investment in critical areas that touch the lives of people directly. Social investments program, the school feeding program, massive investment in agriculture, a sector that employs over 65% of our people. We strive to set Nigeria on an irreversible path of growth and development. This is the objective that guides our investment and expenditures as a government. We join hands to build a better country. We are resolute in our commitment to uplift our people and to make Nigeria a better place.
The corruption of the previous 5 years is what destroyed the Nigerian economy. Every time we talk about this, every time we talk about corruption, our opponents say, don't talk about it. Just do your own. Don't talk about it. We must let our people know that we cannot afford to go this way again. Never again should we allow a system where people take the resources of this country and steal the resources of this country, use the resources against the people, and at the same time, they want to continue in rulership.
On his part, the man in whom all is guarded, Bola Tinubu, pointed out the flaws of the past administration and promised to work on a paper that will bring Nigeria out of poverty, just as the governor of Lagos State, Akumi Ambode, among others, extolled his virtues.
We know that there are challenges. But what are we doing about it? And we must articulate those programs, make a promise to Nigerians once again that hope is back. We have the audacity of it. We will bring Nigeria on the right path of prosperity and banish poverty forever. Mr. President, jointly with you, we are going to work on strengthening the pension plan to stimulate growth and this economy. I promise you a paper I will come up with. I work harder quickly because you spend your time here.
There's no better birthday present that we can give to the celebrants. I try to go down to and the theme of today. Look around you. There are only a few people that can match his unquestionable thirst to invest in people.
He's a father, he's a leader, he's a role model. So today we are celebrating an enigma, somebody who has distinguished himself before Nigerians.
Siwaju will be resolute to any matter. He doesn't care who is God, and he's very, very sincere. Very sincere. You can see the number of people they have built all over Nigeria.
The Tinubu colloquium is an annual event organized to discuss matters of national interest with the sole aim of achieving excellence in governance. The House of Representatives has disputed claims of publication alleging that members of the House collected $30,000 each to change the sequence of the 2019 general elections. This follows a point of order raised by Damburam Nuhu during Wednesday's sitting where the lawmakers described the allegation as one aimed at discrediting the House as an institution.
Mr. Speaker, they said we've been given $30,000 to change the sequence of the election. But the question to ask is, given bribe to change election sequence by who? In whose interest is it to change the sequence of the election? Mr. Speaker, when these people are talking, blah, 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 that the president has refused assent, that we are going to veto it, I don't know. Is vetoing it not part of the power given to us by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? If we are to veto it, are we doing something that is against the Constitution of this country? Oh, I'm worried the way these newspapers just write stories.
Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara, however, ruled that the Ethics and Privilege Committee should investigate the matter and report back to the House for further action.
This is an allegation coming from outside, coming from the fourth rank. And in one fell swoop, has indicted governors, indicted ministers, and indicted every single member of this House. Number two, you cannot send this to the Ethics and Privileges because every member of that committee has also been indicted. So you become a judge in your own cause. This is a matter that is ripe, Mr. Speaker, for litigation. This is a matter that is ripe for litigation. By the time you slap hefty penalties and damages on those who should otherwise be conducting what they call investigative journalism, I think we will see a stop.
We should even thank the press. Because from his presentation, it's like it's been alleged that the minister, in consort with some governors, are planning to bribe the National Assembly. Not that money has been shared.
No, they said that.
Because that was what Honorable Abante said. So if that's the issue, it's like they're raising a red flag warning to us that, look, money is coming on, and we should be careful. So really it's the Ethics and Privileges that will look into the complaint of the matter to determine whether his privilege is being breached or the privilege of the institution has been breached. If they so decide that no privilege has been breached.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has solicited the support of the Inspector General Police, Ibrahim Idris, to curb open vote buying at polling units in the country. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who made this appeal while receiving the IG at INEC headquarters in Abuja, urged him to ensure democracy is not communized.
We approach the AGT and Osun governorship elections, and as we move into the 2019 general elections, to pay particular attention to this disturbing practice. We'll be happy if the police will deploy special forces, beginning with Ekiti and Osun, to ensure that what transpires at the polling units is nothing but the will of Nigerians. Only the votes cast freely by citizens will determine who wins the elections, not the inducement of citizens by the use of cash at polling units during elections. I'm confident that given the level of cooperation and synergy we have with the police, this matter will be addressed.
Responding, the IG said his visit is a necessary move to ensure a violence-free poll.
We are here as a continuous consultation with the INEC in the preparation of the coming elections. Of course, I want all of us to be aware that from July and September this year, we are going to conduct some elections in Osun and Ekiti states. And these two elections this year is going to be a continuous exercise until next year. when in 2019 we are going to conduct the national election. So today I want to inform everybody that because of this continuous consultation and synergy with INEC, you are going to see our faces more at the INEC headquarters. In their effort obviously to synergize to ensure that we have a peaceful elections in the coming month in Nigeria.
The senator representing Yobe East in the National Assembly, Bukar Ibrahim, says serious negotiations are ongoing to ensure the release of Lee Sharibir. She will recall that Lee is one of the schoolgirls abducted from Dapchi, Yobe State by Boko Haram insurgents on February 19. Lee was reportedly not released with others because she refused to renounce her Christian faith. Speaking on the floor of the Senate on Thursday, Ibrahim said Shabir would be released very soon. The nation's heads of security agencies have expressed worry over alleged ongoing attempts by some groups to disrupt the processes leading to the 2019 general elections. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, who disclosed this in a statement to journalists, said the heads of security agencies have expressed worry during an interactive session they had with some media owners and senior journalists at the presidential villa, Abuja. The presidential spokesman listed those who addressed the media practitioners to include the Director General of the Department of State Services, Lawa Dara, the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Abubakar, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olunishakin. Shehu said the security chieftains expressed the particular worry that there are groups in the country with evil designs to disrupt the process leading to the 2019 general elections in the hope of creating a stalemate. The Yoruba Council of Elders, YCE, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately sack all the security chiefs for their alleged inability to effectively curtail killings to the elders. The recurrent massacre in Benue, Taraba, and Nasarawa states have lent credence to the accusation by the former Minister of Defense, Theophilus Danjuma, that the military was colluding with killer herdsmen to embark on ethnic cleansing. The Nigerian Army has laid to rest 11 soldiers killed by bandits at Kampanin Doka village in the burning Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. The governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, also donated $500,000 naira to each of the bereaved family. Report says the soldiers are a special force executing the Nigerian Army's exercise Aya Akpatuma, also known as Rat Race, with full military honor. The remains of the soldiers who were killed on March 20 were buried at the Commonwealth Cemetery in Kaduna. The Oba of Benin, Oba Eware II, has promised to give returnees from Libya 3 months' salaries. In a statement signed by the King's Chief Press Secretary Desmond Agbama, Oba Eware announced This when he hosted Libyan returnees in his palace. Apart from the allowances, the Oba Iwere Foundation would provide the necessary tools, facilities to those who had gone through the various skills acquisition programs. The Oba also expressed disappointment over the mentality of Nigerian youths with a quest to make quick money without legitimate means, maintaining that youths must embrace agriculture and other legal businesses to excel in life. Primary school pupils in Lagos State have been subjected to intellectual and spelling tests in quiz competition. The pupils were brought together by the organizers of the intellectual test, Oma Dictionary, on Wednesday in Lagos for the competition. The second richest man in the world, Bill Gates, on his visit to Nigeria, advised the federal government to invest more in human resources than infrastructure, an advice embraced by many scholars. Today, educationists have intensified efforts in the country at developing children's spelling ability. To further promote accurate pronunciation, spelling of words, and improve students' vocabularies, these pupils from different primary schools in Lagos State were brought under one umbrella to test their intellectual abilities.
Slipping to the pores around the body and Virginia behind the beard. And mother's son, lacking in the shadows, clasping devil, strikes down of his beating. Nightfall comes like a dreaded disease, seeping through the pores of a healthy body and ravaging it beyond the earth. A murderous hand, lurking in the shadows, grasping a dagger, strikes down the helpless victim. Come and go on the several seasons. Please stay out to Baba tree. Fellow man, please, I kindred spirit. If index is not enough for you, true, it lives to the touch when flood builds the banks, and the bats and the owls often tear in at night. January is spelled G-E-N-R-E.
That is correct.
Guash, it's spelled G-O-U-A-C-H-E. Guash.
That is correct.
There was once a very rich merchant who had 6 children, 3 sons, and 3 daughters. Being a man of sense, he spared no cost for their education, but gave them all kinds of masters.
There was once a very rich merchant who had 6 children, 3 sons, and 3 daughters. Being a man of sense, he spared no cost for their education, but gave them all kinds of masters.
Apart from this, there were other side attractions to make the participants happy.
I'm 8 years old and I'm feeling kind of. I want that you just be anything like that. My friends so paper. I can't over time. And when I see them, it's really making fun. Say yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah. Let's go now. Let's go now. I'm only 8 years old and I'm feeling kind of you. I want to eat that thing I can do. My friends throw paper cans over town. And when I see them do this, it makes me frown.
The academic rap is a very, very important segment. It has taught the kids, how to express themselves. The importance of diction, appropriate pronunciation when it comes to self-expression in anything and everything you do, rap, music, whatever it is.
Organizers of the competition, Oma Dictionary, speak on the rationale behind it and equally gave the advice.
We need a platform for the children to really see the importance of good reading, and that is what Oma Dictionary Awards has done today for the children. We also have proper pronunciation. You hear people say plumber instead of plumber. You hear people say congratulations instead of congratulations. We have so many funny pronunciations. The belief is that, well, I understand the rudiments of grammar. What's pronunciation? I don't care.
We're trying to create a platform for pupils to show their skills, because we find out that speaking in the right diction is not well done in Nigeria, and so we train pupils in so many skills, and then we try to create a platform, bringing them together to come and compete and see how well they've learned the skills we've actually trained them on.
I think it's something that our kids need to help brush them up and help them to speak rightly. Like was said at the occasion, it's always encouraged that they should speak the right station.
My piece of advice to the other pupils out there, even from other schools, is that they should try as much as possible to embrace speaking in the right diction, and that is to speak in the British accent, which is the standard English that we are to be using in Nigeria.
There is no gainsaying that any country that wants development in all ramifications must invest in sound education. And the reason is not far-fetched, because human capital development will lead to national development. With competitions like this, expectations are high that Nigeria will begin to churn out future leaders that can stand the test of time. Adinike Ajiboye, SuperScreen News. You're still watching SuperScreen News at 10. We'll take a short break here. More news after this time out. To stay. Well, it's so glad to have you back now. In business news, the federal government has announced plans to embark on massive exportation of goods using the Lekki Deep Sea Port when it becomes operational in 2021. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who disclosed this while inaugurating the Lekki Deep Sea Port project in Lagos, said the development of the Lekki Deep Sea Port was critical to the creation of special economic zones, which would serve as models for others across the country. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has called on cabinet ministers and heads of departments and agencies to show commitment to Nigeria's open government partnership. Malami made the appeal at the 3rd National Steering Committee meeting of the Open Government Partnership in Abuja, where he urged citizens to make conscious efforts to engage with OGP initiatives.
Open government partnership is about open, transparent and accountable government that displaces the possibility of corruption, which is beclouded in secrecy naturally. All levels of government, ministries, departments and agencies, and it is being indeed, it is targeted at the states and local government among others. To have in place a structure in line with international best practices on account of the fact that Nigeria is equally registered as a member of the Open Government Partnership at the international level, to operate, to put in place a framework that will now allow for the Open Government Partnership, that will now allow for transparency, that will allow for openness, that will allow for accountability of the government as far as its engagement with the students are concerned. So Open Government Partnership is about transparency, it's about accountability and openness of governance.
Acting Minister of Communication Adebayo Shitu said the idea of the initiative is to make governance a transparent system where citizens can have access to information on how government is run.
ICT generally is a new phenomenon in Nigeria. We are just making effort to ensure that we localize it, we internalize it in our processes and systems. And in doing that, there will certainly be challenges of even individuals in the civil service and everywhere. People who are used to files and used to papers and all of that might have, the problem of really changing. But it is our hope, with the determination of the federal government, that very soon governance will be a paperless, system.
And now on the international news, United States U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States will withdraw from a Syria war torn very soon. Turkey urged the U.S. to stop YPG fighters headed for eastern Ghouta. Trump complained that the U.S. spends trillions of dollars in the Middle East but get nothing in return. And in sports news this morning, Chelsea manager Antonio Conte says his side can close the gap on Tottenham's Hotspur as the race for a top 4 finish odds up with 8 games left to play in the Premier League. Chelsea is 5th on 56 points, 5 points behind Spurs, who occupy the final UEFA Champions League qualifying spot. In the reverse fixture played earlier in the season, a double from Marcus Alonso gave Chelsea a 2-1 win at Wembley Stadium. And finally, in SuperScreen news, to talking sports, Gabriel Jesus has returned to Premier League action following a triumphant international outing with Brazil. Uncertain over his starting place in the Manchester City side that could be just 2 games from clinching the title. The 20-year-old forward scored the only goal of the friendly